Welcome to UK Briefing. The content of the briefing includes Metro Bank to discuss funding with shareholders this weekend. Source: building homes for rent can help all ages. Man accused over alleged plot to kidnap and murder Holly Willoughby. Sunak says he has never smoked but it is irrelevant to proposed crackdown. Labour buoyed by Rutherglen win but pollsters sound note of caution. Metro Bank to discuss funding with shareholders this weekend. Source: Reuters. Metro Bank is discussing funding options with shareholders over the weekend as it looks to boost its finances and reassure regulators following a turbulent week of trading. The bank is considering various funding options after a period of difficulties, including accounting errors, executive departures, and delays to regulatory approval. A proposal from bondholders for a £600 million, $734 million, capital injection is reportedly seen as handing over too much control to the bank. Metro Bank's largest shareholder is Colombian billionaire Jamie Jelinski. Building homes for rent can help all ages. Telegraph. The John Lewis Partnership plans to build rental homes on its property estate to help address the UK's housing shortage. The company said it had a sizable and valuable property estate that could be used to develop housing, particularly in areas with brownfield sites. The move comes after new data from Rightmove revealed that an average of 25 people are now asking to view each rental property that becomes available in the country, up from 20 people 5 months ago. Man accused over alleged plot to kidnap and murder Holly Willoughby. The Independent. A man named Gavin Plum has been remanded in custody after being charged with soliciting murder and incitement to kidnap This Morning presenter Holly Willoughby. Plum, a shopping center security officer, allegedly conspired with another man, David Nelson, to carry out the offenses. Plum is accused of planning to assemble a kidnap and restraint kit and encouraging Nelson to travel to the UK to commit the crimes. Plum appeared in court wearing a t-shirt that read "Age to Perfection" and spoke only to confirm his details. ITV is providing round-the-clock security and support for Willoughby, who has presented the show since 2009. Sunak says he has never smoked but it is irrelevant to proposed crackdown. The Independent. Rishi Sunak, the UK Prime Minister, has defended his proposal to raise the legal smoking age annually, stating that his personal experience of never having smoked or drank does not affect his stance on the issue. Sunak outlined plans to introduce a new law that would prevent children who turn 14 this year or younger from legally buying cigarettes or tobacco in England. Health campaigners have praised the move, but pro-smoking campaign group Forest has criticized it as creeping prohibition. Sunak stressed the importance of protecting children from the harms of smoking, citing smoking as the leading cause of death, disability, and illness in the UK. The proposal will be put to a free vote in Parliament, with Labour pledging support to pass the law. Labour buoyed by Rutherglen win but pollsters sound note of caution. Financial Times. The Scottish Labour Party's victory in the Rutherglen and Hamilton West by-election is significant, but experts warn against overinterpreting the result. The SNP has dominated Scottish politics since the 2014 independence referendum, but its leadership crisis and internal conflicts have weakened the party. Labour's hopes of returning to power in the next general election depend on capitalising on the SNP's weakness to rebuild their power base in Scotland. Pollsters also caution that the result is a single election, and it is realistic to expect Labour to win around 25 Scottish seats in the general election. I sold beer from my car boot. Now I'm in the House of Lords. Telegraph. Karen Billamoria, founder of Cobra Beer, has spoken to the Telegraph about creating the most famous Indian consumer brand in the UK, which turned over more than £200 million in a year. Billamoria was born and brought up in India before studying law at Cambridge. It was at the university that the idea for Cobra Beer was born. Billamoria explained, "I'd eat at Indian restaurants at least twice a week, and I'd always get a beer with my meal. The lagers were always too gassy, though, and a pale ale was too bitter. I wanted a beer that had the refreshment of a lager and the coolness of a pale ale, one that could go perfectly with any food, not just a curry." In 1989, the company was set up in the Fulham flat that Billamoria shared with his business partner. Initially the pair slept on one floor while the beer was stored above. The beer was delivered to restaurants by Billamoria in the back of his car. "I started knocking on doors in Chelsea and that's how we got our first restaurant sales, as well as an off-license on Fulham Road stocking us. We made our first million in revenue within 6 years," he said. The company now retails in 40 countries. Ed Sheeran bags 7th straight #1 album. BBC. Ed Sheeran has achieved his 7th consecutive UK #1 album with Autumn Variations. This is a significant milestone for the singer as it is the first album he has released on his own label. The album, a collaboration with Aaron Dessner of The National, is Sheeran's second album of 2023 and reflects on the personal crises and upheavals experienced by his friends in 2022. The album received mixed reviews, but Sheeran has disregarded critics and encouraged fans to make up their own minds. Autumn Variations also sold the most vinyl copies in the UK last week. British Armed Forces to receive wearable chemical weapons sensors in £88 million programme. Telegraph. The British military is set to adopt a sensor that can detect chemical weapons. The troops will be equipped with the sensor that can detect multiple chemical threats from both vapors and aerosols. The move comes as concerns over Russia's use of chemical weapons in Ukraine remain. The Ministry of Defense said the £88 million, $121 million, program will replace and strengthen its chemical detecting capabilities, ensuring that areas are safe from toxic chemicals that could harm personnel or civilians. The device is expected to be deployed by 2028 in all tactical scenarios. SNP voters lost faith, we need to deal with it. BBC. The recent by-election in Rutherglen and Hamilton West saw a 20% swing in favour of Labour. Some voters were not surprised by the result, citing recent issues with the SNP and a lack of faith in the party. Others felt that the SNP should focus on tackling issues such as young people, homelessness and domestic violence in order to win back voters. Voter turnout was low at 37.19%, with some feeling that their vote does not matter. The requirement for photographic ID also slowed down the voting process. Overall, some voters were happy with the result and felt that it could signal a comeback for Labour, while others were disappointed that the SNP lost and felt that it could affect Scotland's chances for independence. That's a wrap on today's news from the 6 Degrees world. Let's quickly recap what we've learned. 1. Metro Bank is discussing funding options with shareholders to boost its finances after a turbulent week. 2. The John Lewis Partnership plans to build rental homes on its property estate to address the UK's housing shortage. 3. A man has been remanded in custody for allegedly plotting to kidnap and murder TV presenter Holly Willoughby. 4. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak defends his proposal to raise the legal smoking age annually. 5. The Scottish Labour Party's victory in a recent by-election is seen as significant, but experts caution against overinterpreting the result. 6. Karen Billamoria, founder of Cobra Beer, talks about his journey from selling beer from his car boot to being in the House of Lords. 7. Greek red wines are gaining popularity in the UK due to their distinct flavours and aromas. 8. Ed Sheeran achieves his 7th consecutive UK #1 album with Autumn Variations. 9. The British Armed Forces will receive wearable chemical weapons sensors in an £88 million programme. 10. Voters in the recent by-election expressed their reasons for supporting Labour and their concerns with the SNP. Now, let's dive into some analysis. Metro Bank's discussions with shareholders highlight the challenges the bank has been facing recently. The proposal of a capital injection from bondholders is seen as a potential solution, but the issue of control remains a concern. It will be interesting to see how Metro Bank navigates these discussions and addresses its financial difficulties. The John Lewis Partnership's plan to build rental homes is a creative solution to the housing shortage in the UK. By utilizing its property estate, the company can contribute to providing more housing options, particularly in areas with brownfield sites. This initiative could have a positive impact on the housing market and help alleviate the growing demand for rental properties. The shocking news of a man being charged with plotting to kidnap and murder Holly Willoughby is deeply concerning. It's a reminder of the importance of security and protection for public figures, and the measures taken by ITV to ensure her safety are commendable. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's proposal to raise the legal smoking age annually is a contentious issue. While health campaigners support the move, pro-smoking campaign groups argue against it. Sunak's personal experience of never having smoked or drank may not affect his stance on the issue, but it's an interesting point to consider when discussing policy decisions. The Scottish Labour Party's victory in the recent by-election is seen as a positive development for the party, but experts caution against reading too much into it. The SNP's leadership crisis and internal conflicts have weakened the party, but it's important to remember that this is just one election. Labour's hopes of returning to power in the next general election will depend on their ability to capitalise on the SNP's weaknesses and rebuild their power base in Scotland. Karen Billamoria's journey from selling beer from his car boot to being in the House of Lords is an inspiring story of entrepreneurship. His success with Cobra Beer shows the power of identifying a gap in the market and creating a product that meets consumer needs. It's a reminder that great things can come from humble beginnings. Greek red wines gaining popularity in the UK is an interesting trend in the wine industry. The unique flavors and aromas of these wines, made from indigenous grape varieties, offer consumers a new and exciting option. It's worth exploring these Greek red wines and expanding our wine horizons beyond the usual choices. Ed Sheeran's seventh consecutive #1 album is an impressive achievement. His ability to consistently produce chart-topping music is a testament to his talent and popularity. It's clear that fans continue to support him, regardless of mixed reviews from critics. The adoption of wearable chemical weapons sensors by the British Armed Forces is an important step in strengthening their capabilities and ensuring the safety of personnel and civilians. With concerns over chemical weapons use in international conflicts, this program will enhance the military's ability to detect and respond to such threats. Lastly, the recent by-election in Rutherglen and Hamilton West reflects a loss of faith in the SNP among some voters. It's crucial for the party to address these concerns and focus on key issues to regain voter support. Voter turnout and the requirement for photographic ID are also factors that need to be considered when analyzing the results. That's all for today's news. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about Metro Bank's funding discussions, the John Lewis Partnership's housing plans, or any other news stories we've covered? Share your ideas and questions, and let's start a discussion. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.